In what is a unusual team up, Matt Gaetz and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have joined forces. Wow. So here we have a situation where you have a villain teaming up with a hero in order to take down an even worse villain. I'll leave it up to you to decide which is which. Okay. And they're not alone. 4 members of the U.S. House of Representatives from across the political spectrum have come together on Tuesday to introduce the bipartisan Restoring Faith in Government Act. What would it do? It would ban federal lawmakers and their immediate relatives from owning and trading stocks. So, look, congressional stock trading, it's a pretty big issue. And the fact that obviously it's a conflict of interest. I mean, a lot of these companies, well, I should say the economy itself, which affects a lot of these companies, usually there are people in Congress that, through their respective committees, make decisions that affect these companies and their stock prices. And if you happen to hold stock in these companies that are affected, if you make a decision that harms them, you're going to harm your own investments. Even if what you're doing, yes, helps your investment, but hurts the American worker. Well, if you're a member of Congress, I mean, the choice is pretty easy. You're going to do the thing that helps you and your investments and your family. And that's exactly why this bill is correct in banning congressional stock trades. Now, let me give you some quotes here. So the fact that members of the Progressive Caucus, the Freedom Caucus, and the Bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus, reflecting the entirety around the political spectrum, can find common ground on key issues like this should send a powerful message to America, said Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick, a Republican, who was leading the new bill with Representatives Matt Gaetz, Raja Krishnamurthy, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We all view this as a critical first step to return the House of Representatives back to the people. Now, Fitzpatrick also said we must move forward on the issues that unite us, including our firm belief that trust in government must be restored, and that members of Congress, including their dependents, must be prohibited from trading in stocks while they're serving in Congress and have access to sensitive inside information. This is basic common sense and basic integrity 101, and we all view this as a critical first step to return to the House of Representatives back to the people. Yes, the fact that it is basic common sense and basic integrity is exactly why, of course, this will fail. But that said, they're right in that this is desperately needed. There is no reason why Congress people should be able to trade stocks or engage in insider trading. But they do so. I mean, look, when they come out and say, oh, no, you don't. Obviously, we can absolutely do congressional stock trades without corruption. Are you actually accusing us of being corrupt in Congress? Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. Because that's what this is. It is a clear conflict of interest. And it's one that Congress people continue to deny. And again, it's because they have stocks, and those stocks generally do pretty well. More than 24 members of Congress had beaten the stock market. That was despite Wall Street suffering its worst year since 2008. This is according to an analysis by a popular news stock trading news site. Let me show you. Representative Patrick Fallon of Texas made 51.6% on his investments in 2022. Right behind him was Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz, a Democrat, with 50.8% spike in returns from the stock market. So you have to understand, this is not a partisan issue. Both Democrats and Republicans have a lot of money in the stock market, and they shouldn't. Again, no congressperson should be allowed to trade stocks while in office. And their immediately family members as well. And look, a total of 131, or 24% of the 535 members of Congress, reported trading activity in 2022. And they all generally did pretty well for themselves, with one exception. one of the most prolific traders was former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Now, her district covered Silicon Valley. So she generally did very, very, very well when it came to her stock, her portfolio. Until 2022, that is. They actually had a big loss in 2022. But, generally in 2021, for example, and 2020, she had incredibly impressive returns. Now, I said that she took a loss in 2022, and that was because she made big investments in the tech sector, and the tech sector ended up crashing. But normally, she had beaten the stock market for a very long time. There was literally a Pelosi stock tracker. It's so that traders can emulate her trades, her and her husband's trades specifically, because they're usually so successful. Now, what happened in 2022, however, was laid out by Thomas Hayes, founder of Great Hill Capital. He said that while she didn't pass legislation unfavorable to tech companies, she clearly didn't have any influence over the rate hikes that destroyed tech. The headwinds of the Fed made Paul Pelosi a mere mortal like the rest of us. So I point that out because it's not that she voted against something that would help the tech sector or voted in something that would hurt the tech sector. No, this was completely unforeseen, outside of her control. She did everything she could to help the tech sector, and she happened to be invested in the tech sector and would have made out very well had the tech sector not crashed. So I think that's an important point to bring up here. Okay? This is good legislation that prevents that kind of conflict of interest. Now, it's not as strong as previous attempts to try to rein in congressional stock trades, but at least they're continuing to bring this up and finding common ground with, yes, people we generally don't agree with. And I think sometimes that is necessary when it's a good idea.